This is Olivia Osgood, and you are listening to the How to Quit Working Show. I'm glad that my mommy's an entrepreneur so that we get to spend lots of time together and she gets to homeschool me.
This is the How to Quit Working Show. Jeff Steinman believes entrepreneurship is the only true path to freedom. That's why he created the How to Quit Working Show, where you'll hear stories, insights, and inspiration from lifestyle fanatics who left their soul-sucking 9-to-5 job forever. Now, here's your host, author, entrepreneur, and ultimate lifestyle fanatic, Jeff Steinman.
Hello and welcome to the How to Quit Working Show. This is Heather Osgood, your host of the Friday episode of the How to Quit Working Show. I hope that you're having a wonderful week, and I am so glad that you are here with me today because I have some great stuff to talk to you about. But before we get started, I want to make sure that you have had a chance to join the How to Quit Working Circle. In our How to Quit Working Circle, you're going to have access to all kinds of fun stuff, not the least of which is our Facebook group, which is really just a great place to be if you are thinking about quitting your job, if you've just started a business, or if you're a business owner and you are just really looking to surround yourself with other like-minded individuals, other entrepreneurs like yourself. The Facebook group is really the place to be. And I just have really enjoyed watching our Facebook group kind of grow and change. It has been so amazing to me just watching what people write in our Facebook group. So this past week we have had people post celebrations about, how they have gotten published and paid for it, which is really cool. We've had people who have published great articles that they've written. We've had other individuals who have asked us to look at websites or Facebook pages that they've created. So if you're just in a place where you would love to have some feedback and you're not sure exactly where to find that feedback, the Facebook group is really a great place for you to be. And you can have access to that if you go to howtoquitworking.com/circle. All of the information will be there for you. So take a look at that. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about the idea of external versus internal blame, and kind of what that means and how you can profit from how you're really thinking. So most of us kind of have this knee-jerk reaction when something happens to us, we want to find out why, right? So whether it's in our lives, whether it's in our business, we feel like if a bad situation is happening to us, there must be a reason for this bad situation. And that bad situation could be anything from, maybe you have spent months and maybe even years working on your business and you're not really getting any return. You haven't had success in your company and you want to know why you haven't had success in your company. Or maybe that bad situation is you have had an employee who has just totally done you wrong, right? Like maybe an employee has stolen money from you. Maybe they have been turning down customers or, have really just had a really poor customer service, which has led to you losing business. Or maybe you have a vendor that you've been working with and all of a sudden you're finding out that maybe they're charging you twice what someone else is getting charged for the same product or the same service. And really, you just feel really frustrated. You feel like the situation is kind of out of your control and you want to look to blame someone around you, right? You want to look to either blame that vendor, you want to blame that employee. A lot of times, and I know we talk about this in our Facebook group, a lot of times we want to blame our spouses, right? Like the situation is painful. We don't like what's happening. Maybe we don't feel like our spouse is being supportive of us in this venture. And it's not easy to be an entrepreneur, right? I mean, you have to do all kinds of different things to get to a place where you're comfortable quitting your job, where you've really created a business that has a good stream of income. And all of those are big steps. And really they're big psychological steps, if not just for the creation of the business. So we really want a spouse who's going to come home and give us a pat on the shoulder and say, hey, you're doing a great job. But instead, maybe we have a spouse who's, constantly critiquing us or really has no idea what we're doing. So it's very easy for us to kind of lash out and to look for other people to blame. And I want you to really think about what happens in your life when you really have an external approach to negative situations in your life, when you look around and you say, why is this happening to me and who did this to me? What is that doing to you? Really what it's doing is it's giving away your power. It's putting you in this situation where all of a sudden someone did it to you, and since someone has done this to you, they are the ones that have all of the control. Now, I'm not saying that in life there aren't situations where we have things done to us, right? Like we have all had those situations where someone has done something to us very wrong, where we have been violated in a very real way. And I don't mean to downplay that, but I want you to really specifically think about your business. And the reason I want you to think about your business is that your business is your creation, right? It's your brainchild. You're the one that developed the idea. You're the one that's developed the product, the service, the offering, whatever it may be. And you're the one that does have total control of that situation. And in the situation of your business, when something bad happens, if you're looking to blame, you're really giving away all of your power. You are saying all of these external forces have created the bad situation that you're in. And I've worked with clients who have said, well, gosh, the reason that things aren't going better is because my customers don't understand my product or service, or my customers are too cheap and they don't want to buy my product. I have some bad news for you. If you are a person out there who is saying some of those things, that means that you're not providing enough value for your customer to want to purchase from you, right? There's something that you are doing in that situation that is really creating that issue. And if you don't own that, then you really aren't going to be able to make any significant changes in your business. So really think about when something negative happens, how are you approaching or addressing that situation? And are you really looking to point fingers, or are you changing it and looking at it from an internal perspective? So let's shift gears a little bit and talk about what it looks like to address things and situations, often negative circumstances, from an internal perspective. The reality is that we each have our own responsibility. We have our response ability, right? So we have the ability to respond to any situation or circumstance that comes in our life. And we can take in the information, we can process the information, and we can come out on the other side with a response to that situation. And our response is totally and fully going to dictate what happens to us. And I find this most fascinating specifically in relationships. So if you've never kind of played around with this, that would be my challenge to you, is just to play around with it. And what I mean by that is take a relationship that you're a very close relationship. So perhaps it's a spouse, perhaps maybe it's a best friend or a neighbor, someone that you're in contact with a lot. And change how you react to that person and change the input to the situation. So for me, I really enjoy doing this with my marriage because I can see such a direct impact with it. When I approach my husband and I am very happy and I'm glad to see him and I say, hey, how was your day? And I've got a big smile on my face. When I'm willing to be empathetic toward him, when I make the effort to be physically affectionate toward him, all of those things really, really significantly impact how he responds to me. And even in negative situations, when maybe he comes home or is unhappy about a situation, why did maybe I do this or why did I do that? You know, if I am able to, which I'm not always, but if I am able to respond in a different way, in a loving way or in an empathetic way, it totally changes the situation. And it's the exact same thing with your inner dealings with your business, right? So if you have an issue with an employee, if you have an issue with a customer, if you have an issue with a vendor, if you have an issue with your bank, I mean, you could take this scenario to the nth degree and you could say, in this situation, how is my response to this person really changing the situation? Or how is my response to the circumstance going to really dictate a positive outcome as opposed to a negative outcome? And I can think in particular, I had an exhibitor in my trade show production company, and he was a big exhibitor. He purchased like 7 booth spaces, and on an ongoing basis, this gentleman was in our show, and he one time came to our show and was just absolutely livid because we had sold one of his competitors into the show. And I hate to tell you, but I handled the situation extremely poorly. He started attacking my husband, who was my business partner, and I instantly got defensive of my husband, and I lashed out at this exhibitor. And consequently, we ended up getting into a place where he didn't exhibit with us in the future at all. And we could have totally rectified the situation. I could have rectified the situation by my ability to respond to him and his needs and his concerns. But instead of responding in a way that I should have responded, I handled it in a very defensive manner. And that really changed the outcome of the situation. And unfortunately for our company, it really ended up equaling a lot of dollars that were lost because in that moment, I didn't have the ability to say, what is my part in this and how do I make the situation better? Instead, I decided that he was lashing out at me and I was going to lash out at him. I wasn't coming from it from an internal perspective. I was coming at it from an external perspective. I was telling him that he shouldn't be upset with me, that I had every right to be upset with him. And that was really just not handling the situation in a very good manner, right? And so as you're looking at these situations in your company, you're always going to have ups and downs, right? We're always going to have situations where things aren't going perfectly, and we have to figure out how do we respond to these situations. Another great example is our haircutting business. Yesterday, we had 3 of our hairstylists call in sick. Well, when you have a staff of 4 or 5 people cutting hair and 3 people call in sick, that can have a massive impact on your business, right? It can have a massive impact on our ability to serve our clients well and also to continue to grow our business. If somebody comes in on one of these days and we've only got 1 person cutting hair, suddenly they're going to say like, why am I coming to this place if there's only 1 person cutting hair? It reflects very poorly on what we're trying to create as a company and an organization. So in that moment, we could get upset at our employees. We could say, why are they calling in sick? Why aren't they here? They should be here. They need to be here. This is their responsibility. Or we could change the way we're looking at this situation and say, what kind of systems and processes do we need to put in place as an organization to make sure that if we have a situation where 3 people call in sick in one day, we have the opportunity to really handle and address that situation so our customers can best be served and we can continue to grow as an organization and a company, right? We can continue to have really good reviews from our customers. And if you're in a place where you're really not doing that, then you have no control. So that's my point in its entirety, is really thinking about how you are going inside yourself when a situation or an issue comes up. How are you looking into yourself to say, what am I doing to cause this situation to occur, to cause maybe this chaos to happen? And if you're not able to really go inside and look at what it is that you're bringing to the table, then really ultimately you're going to have issues on the other end. And it's so important as the leader of the company that you realize that you are really in total control of your business and your situation. If you feel like your sales are really low, what do you need to increase your sales? Maybe it's coming up with a new sales strategy. Perhaps it's increasing your sales activities, right? Are you doing anything to really go out and drum up sales? Possibly that means that you need to examine your marketing strategy. Do you have a good marketing strategy in place that is actually funneling customers to you? Or are you in a situation where your marketing is really, not doing well? And what is the role that you are playing in it? Now, what I found with business owners is a lot of times I talk to people and they feel very overwhelmed, right? So I hear that word so often. And I did a podcast episode about that. I think it was last week, about being overwhelmed, because I just feel like it's one of those situations that comes up again and again and again. As a business owner, people feel really overwhelmed. So what is it exactly that is making you feel so overwhelmed? And really just breaking these things down and realizing that you have control over your business. If there is an area of your business where you're not succeeding, the reason you're not succeeding is because you are choosing not to do the things that need to happen in order for you to be successful. And that, truthfully, that could get even down into product development or service. Perhaps you're trying to provide a service or a product that people just simply are not interested in taking advantage of at this time. And that's really important to look at, right? Is that service or product something that the business wants? And once you have that product or service that someone wants, then really you're looking at trying to build that customer base. And are you really building that customer base? And if you aren't getting customers, then again, you have to go back to thinking about what is your sales strategy? What is your marketing strategy? How are you getting people to you, and how are they finding out about you? And then next, you just move on to the growth phase of your business. And if your business isn't growing as well as you would like it to, examining why isn't it growing as well? Why am I not gaining the traction that I need to gain? And really looking at what can you do and what can you change in your life and in your business to get the outcome that you want. And what I find a lot of times is that as business owners, especially as startup business owners, and when I say startup, I would consider startup anyone that is from, kind of just your idea and inception all the way into like probably the 5-year mark. Really, that's when you're in your startup phase of business. If you're in a place where your company is really not delivering what it is that you would like it to deliver, you have to really sit down and examine every step of the way. And when I say that, what I mean is every action that you have taken or every action that you have not taken, and how you can grow and change those those particular elements to really get to where it is that you want to be. And oftentimes I feel as business owners that people just really don't know exactly what they should do. So they get in this kind of stalled place where the business isn't creating what it is that they would like it to create. And so they just, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to do it. And then that's when they get into a place of blame where they start saying, well, if I had more customers, then I would be more successful. And if my employees were better, then I would be more successful. If my rent didn't cost as much, if my taxes weren't as high, if my vendors would, give me this product at a cheaper price, then my profit margin would be better. And the list just goes on and on and on. And realistically, what you have to do as a business owner is you have to sit and say, like, one of the things that's been challenging for us in our haircutting business is we got a smart meter put on our business. I want to say probably like 2 years ago now. It's been a little while, but our electrical bill went way up when they put that on. And so I think we're paying like $500 or $600 a month for our electricity, which is a lot, right? So, it's and it's very easy for you to say, well, if PG&E did not charge me so much for my electricity, I could be much more profitable. And of course, as a business owner, you think, well, if our electrical bill was only $200 or $300 a month, what could we do with the other $200 or $300? We could put that in our pocket. We could do any number of things with that money. And we don't really want it going to PG&E. So it's very easy for us to sit and blame PG&E for us not being more successful in our business, which PG&E is our local utility company. But so it's just one of those things where we can very easily sit and blame someone else that we're not successful, or we can say, well, you know what? It's going to cost us $600 a month in electricity to run our business. Now, if we want to cover that $600 and still profit, how many more customers do we need to get in the store to cover that? And it's really a matter of making choices along the way and saying, yeah, I realize that maybe my electrical bill is more than I would like it to be, but this is what I have to do if I want to stay in business. And truthfully, sometimes people get to a place where they're like, you know what, the obstacles to running this business are just so large and so insurmountable that I'm done. I don't want to run my company anymore. And those are the people who go out of business, right? That's part of the reason why 80% of all businesses go out in the first year, is because people come up with these obstacles and really they aren't willing to kind of just stick through and really think about what it's gonna do for you to stick through and get the result that you need in the end. I just started reading this great book called Louder Than Words, and it's by Todd Henry. And he uses an example in this book of every business and every project being like a U shape. And I loved it. It just really resonated with me. And he kind of uses this example that if you were on the top of a canyon and your plan was to hike down into this canyon and up the other side, and from this viewpoint, you could see down into the canyon, you could see the trail all the way down, you could see the trail up the other side, and you could see where it was that you were heading. And maybe on the other side, you're going to get to this pinnacle and you're going to have maybe a beautiful view of the ocean or the sun setting or some great prize that is going to be on the other side when you hike down into this canyon and back up the other side. And you get started, and when you get started, I don't know if you've ever been on a hike, but I'm a big hiker, and you're kind of pumped, right? You're ready to just get going, and you're hiking down this trail, and everything seems terrific. You're super excited. You can still see your destination on the other side, and then things get kind of steep, right? Like the path gets a little bit more narrow than you thought it would be. Maybe it's a little bit more loose rock than you expected, and things just get a little bit hairy. And then you get to the bottom of the canyon, and what looked like, this beautiful little creek running through the bottom of this canyon turns out to be more of like a river. And you're going to have to wade through this river to get to the other side. And, and maybe at this time things are starting to get dark and you're starting to hear crazy animals coming out, and really you're just getting freaked out. And you're at the bottom, and really you're like, why am I even on this hike? Like, what made me think that this was a good idea? But you get through that and you start hiking up, and then pretty soon you get to the other side. And when you get to the other side, you look back at your journey, you look back at your path, and you realize that although it was, pretty crazy and it was a pretty harried adventure, it still really got you to where you wanted to be. And I really think that that's such a great analogy for business owners, because when you're starting a business, the vision that you have and the excitement that you have seems so tangible. It seems so real. And for many of us, we can see the success, right? We can see our destination. We can internalize it, and we have all the opportunities, all the possibilities, and we think, I'm going to create this business. It's going to be so awesome, and I'm going to serve these people and those people, and I'm going to create this product, and everybody's going to love it, and it's going to give me this wonderful lifestyle. I'm going to have freedom and flexibility. I'm going to get to pick my kids up from school every day, and I'm going to take the vacations that I've always wanted. And pretty soon we've got this long list of all these great things that we're going to accomplish in this business. And then we start down our path, right? We start down, and we're going, and we're walking, and things are getting steeper, and it's getting harder. And then we get down to the bottom, and we have to cross this raging river, and we think, why are we even doing this, right? Like, why am I here? What made me think that this was a good idea? And I want you to really just kind of imagine yourself walking through this process. And I want you to imagine the other side. And, life isn't about the destination. We've all heard that. It's about the journey. And that's totally the case. And it's the case with a business as well. And it's not as though you're going to get to a finish line, but you are going to get to a place in your business where things are going to get easier. And you're going to look at what it is that you're building, and you're going to say, this is so awesome. I love what I've created so much, and I just want to continue to grow it and foster it and then take it to the next level. And truthfully, then you get to a place where you're on that U-shaped journey just once again, where it sounds so exciting and so great, and then you start out on a new adventure. And really, it's just kind of like that in business, right? We set up these goals for ourselves, and we walk through the path, and we see all of the things that are going really, really well. And then we also see the things that maybe aren't going as well, and what it is that we need to do to grow and change and develop as business owners or as companies. And the whole point of this podcast today is just for you to really embrace the idea that it's having that internal power and having that internal charge, and realizing that you in every way really are the person who is creating the destiny of your company, and your ability to really emerge through yourself this creation of this business that is so truly aligned with you and who you are is going to allow you to really create something that is so hugely successful. But it's something that only you can do. I can't create an awesome business for you. No one can create an awesome business for you. You could listen to every podcast in the world. You can listen to, and read every book that's been out there. And should you? Absolutely. I mean, there's a ton of really wonderful, useful information out there. But at the end of the day, it's all about you. It's about you. It's about your creation. And it's about taking full, total responsibility for everything that happens in your company. And I realize as a business owner on a regular basis that I don't know what I need to know to always be successful, and that I need the input of others. And what's so cool to me about this journey through life is that, I'll be going along and I feel like everything is just terrific and I'm just at the top of my game. And then I'll have some situation that'll hit me and I'll think, man, I really didn't handle that well, or maybe I could have done that differently, or maybe this big hang up that I have here is really causing a lot of issues for my life. Like maybe if I addressed that, then I could be a lot more successful in life. And I walk through that path of development, and then I see other businesses and I think, wow, look at what they're doing, and wouldn't it be great if I could do that too? And really, what is so awesome is that every person and every business is on their own individual journey. We're all headed on our own paths. And sometimes our paths intersect, sometimes our paths, cross, and we can walk together on this journey for a while. But ultimately, it's about you and what you are creating. And I think that what we have a tendency of doing so frequently is copying the businesses around us. I had the absolute pleasure this afternoon of having coffee with one of my biggest mentors. He is someone that I talk about a lot on the show. He coached me and he's phenomenal. And I had an opportunity to sit down with him and talk to him about my coaching practice and all the things that I had going on in my businesses. And he, told me about all the things that he was doing in his business. And it's so easy for us to just take a hold of that, right? So he's telling me these different strategies and techniques that he's putting into play. And I thought, wow, I should do that too. What a great idea. I should do that. Or if he's doing that, then that must be a really good strategy. I should try that as well. And I left the meeting and I thought, what is so awesome is that I'm finally at a place in my business journey where I can realize that he is on his path and everything that he's doing for his company is perfect for him and what he is creating. And the things that I'm doing for me and my business are different, and that is okay. I'm going to do some of the things just like he's done. I'm going to do some of the things like my current coach and how she's doing them. But really, at the end of the day, it's about me and what I'm creating for myself and my clients and the business that I'm constructing. And really just having that internal drive and having really that ability at the end of the day to know that my contribution is significant to my businesses and that it is a total internal dialogue that I have going on with myself that is creating the results that I get. It's not about what my spouse says. It's not about what my clients say. It's not about what my vendors are charging me or how much taxes I'm paying. It's not about any of that. It's about what I bring to the table and my unique contribution to my business and to the world. And I'm not trying to say that what my clients say isn't important. Of course it is. You want to listen to that. And I'm not saying that making sure your employees are happy and that you've got the best people on your team isn't important. Of course that's important. But it has to always start with an internal fortitude. It has to start with you in your center, in the essence of who you are, because that's where this business is coming from. And if you're not willing to step up and realize that it's not about external forces, it's about internal forces, that's what's driving your business, and that's what's going to drive your success. And if you're willing to embrace that, you will be unstoppable. I hope that this has been super helpful. It's been so awesome to be here with you. And I just want you to realize that your business is unique to you. It's something special that only you can provide. And I want you to realize that the world needs that. It needs what you're going to provide. And if you feel like you're in a place where you're just totally unsure about what you're doing, where everything I've said totally resonates with you, but you have no idea how to actually create that in your life, I would love to speak with you. I would love to sit down and, really just explore how coaching could help get you to the next level. And I know that it can, because it has helped me get to the next level in my game, and I'm sure that it could help you get to the next level in your game. You can reach me at howtoquitworking.com/coaching. I would love to talk to you. I hope you have a marvelous week, and I will talk to you next week. Take care.
Thanks for joining us on the How to Quit Working show. Tune in next time when we'll talk to another amazing person just like you who is now living the ultimate life of freedom and doing it on their terms. If you want to learn how to quit working and get these episodes delivered directly to you, visit howtoquitworkingshow.com.